Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Get a Grip podcast. I'm Shane Bacon. This season brought to you by Stripe. Stripe helps some of the largest businesses in the world find new ways to grow revenue and grow it fast, from companies like BMW to the PGA of America. By the way, Matt McCarty just like sneaking in to that Ryder Cup discussion at this point. My hotel of choice as well, Marriott. Stripe builds financial infrastructure that ambitious companies use to launch their boldest products. I'm sure you've run into this because I have. You're shopping online, you get to the cart, and the company you're buying from doesn't accept your payment of choice, so you bail out. In fact, 85% of consumers will leave a full cart if that is the case. Stripe helps businesses avoid these types of headaches, and it's tough to stay on top of the changing global finance landscape, so trust in Stripe to help you and your business, no matter the size, with all kinds of goals and to make progress growing your revenue. I don't know a lot in this world, but I do know this: growing your revenue is a win for everybody. So see all the ways Stripe can grow revenue for your business at stripe.com. Matt McCarty, I got you up early. To do a podcast. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams you'd be waking up at 7 a.m. to do a podcast?
No, but I got a fun round of golf planned, so we had to move it up a little bit, so it was easier to get out of bed this morning. But it's been since getting back from Vegas is the first thing that's kind of got me out of bed before 8 so far. So I needed a few days of rest, but yeah, no, it's been it'll be good, fun day.
Matt, I know your caddy and your buddy is into golf courses, and I know he wears a lot of golf course hats. I'm interested if that's going to change at some point with a potential sponsor coming in and asking, Deb to throw on a hat. But this is a guy that is like rocking high-level golf course hats all the time. Are you obsessed with golf courses? Are you obsessed with playing like high-level courses, even though obviously you got to do it for your job week to week?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty sweet. Like, to have some opportunities to go to some like really cool places and is a lot of fun. And I think, honestly, kind of growing up in Scottsdale, I think I was pretty naive to a lot of just how many like awesome clubs and, different types of golf courses there were. I got introduced a little bit, at Santa Clara, with just kind of being so close to San Francisco. You got like SF Club, Cal Club, and then obviously down in like Monterey, so many great places. But yeah, I mean, I got, Chicago Golf Club hat on. It's one of my favorite places. Being in Chicago for the last couple of years, like, there's been some sweet places to go out to. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Doss is definitely like America's guest, but I've facilitated. He's facilitated a lot, but I've facilitated some as well. But it's nice to kind of, when you're on the road, to like, honestly play some great courses that are, most great courses are challenging, and it's kind of nice to, kind of see how your game can stack up on some different tests, and especially when you're having fun with it and trying to hit some fun shots, and, breaks up the tournament monotony, I guess, a little bit out there. But yeah, it's cool. And like, I mean, just kind of, we're really lucky to, have met so many great people that'll take us out to like these places that, we never would have wished of, stepping on anyway. So
where are you playing today? Let the people know.
Going out to Medinah to play.
Nice.
I haven't played number 3 before because they've been redoing it like the whole time I've been here. So I think, I'm finally weaseling my way out there, and all it took was, I guess, to winning a tour event. I had to validate myself a little bit. Win on the PGA Tour,
and then they invite you. Yeah, that's yeah. Now, and win a major. My goodness, the doors will really, really open for you. Last time you were at Medinah, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you do something silly? I think was that number 5? You shot something that was near special.
Yeah, I shot 60 on number 2.
Number 2,
which is like their short course, or shorter course.
Is that course record?
But
or
yeah, nah, my buddy who grew up, TK Kelly, TK, but he grew up out there, and he's got all the course records. So I've come close to tying him on a couple, but no, that's his place. We have good games out there.
What's the game? What's the game look like? What are we playing today?
We usually just he's going through Q school right now, so like kind of all summer he's coming back off an injury, so we just keep it like real simple and kind of just do match play. And it's all like, it always kind of comes down to the last couple holes between us, especially like just good, like kind of get the competitive juices going at home. And like, we have some good matches and play a lot. It's fun. When it's just us two, we'll do that. We'll get some, some wolf and some other things going with some buddies. But yeah, I think today just keep it simple and, just kind of cruise around and enjoy the walk.
When you do practice rounds, are you a play golf against somebody in your group practice round guy, like week to week on tour? Or are you a guy that goes out there and you're like working on how to play holes and hitting different shots and stuff?
No, I like playing games on Tuesdays, especially. Whether I'm playing like 9 or 18, but like either a birdie game or like with Mac the last couple of weeks on tour, we honestly just played match play because I hadn't seen the courses, so kind of just played a match. And then I played with, so many practice rounds with Mason Anderson this year and Mac's brother Mitch, and we did a lot of birdie games. But it's nice to like kind of, stay involved, and, it's always fun taking, a few dollars off your buddies, so. Or losing it, vice versa. It gets you amped up for the week.
Does success, like financial success, make the money go up, or do you kind of play the same amount you've been playing for a while? Phil famously played, I think it was like a $5,000 closeout game or whatever. Like, do you find yourself wanting to play for more now, or are you pretty happy playing for $100 or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, keep it simple. I think it's happened to me recently, so we'll see how next year out there.
They're trying to get in your pocket, dude. That's what the deal is.
So we'll see how that goes. But no, you want to play for something that matters, but not too much that your buddy's upset or you're upset if you lose. So it's more about the competition. But yeah, it's nice to, have a free dinner every once in a while.
Speaking of dinners, let's talk about Vegas. I don't want to talk about the golf. I want to talk about the week first. How was the week in Vegas? Did you have fun? Did you have too much fun? Was it perfect amount of fun? Like, how was your post-victory? Have to go play the next week on the PGA Tour, and I have to obviously do it in Las Vegas week.
Yeah, the first 2 or 3 days, a lot of fun. The whole week was a lot of fun. A little too long in Vegas, but it was great. We had a lot of buddies from, Santa Clara. I had a couple of high school buddies from Scottsdale kind of cycle in throughout the week. Like, everybody kind of jumped on the opportunity to come to Vegas.
Yep.
So it was a lot of fun. We ate really well all week, which was probably the best part. And then, a little up and down at the tables, but it was a lot of fun. And, but yeah, definitely needed some rest after that week, but, no, it was good. And I think that was the thing. It was like, me and Doss were telling each other all week is like, it's either going to be the best thing to be in Vegas all week after a win or the worst. And I think it was just honestly middle of the road,
okay,
ups and downs.
Good. So if you leave Vegas and you didn't get crushed, everybody's happy. That's the key to a successful Vegas trip. We got off the pod last week and I texted Mark Hubbard, who was playing last week. And then I texted Homa, who has played Vegas a few times, wasn't in the field. And I asked him how they go about Vegas weeks. Like, are you guys like gambling during the week and eating and going out? Or do you guys kind of approach it as just like a golf week, like a golf tournament week? And it felt like it was a little in the middle, to your point, where, I think Max said it's hard to be in Vegas and not want to go do a little bit of gambling, right? You're in Las Vegas, for God's sakes. Hubbard made it seem like it was a little bit more dinner focused, but it's very interesting that, your pro golfers are so regimented, and I feel like these days you guys are as regimented as you've ever been with the way you have your 9-hole Tuesday or your 9-hole Wednesday, your pro-am day, like your physio, your massages. And I do wonder sometimes, like, is letting loose on a week when you're in a town that's fun to let loose in a good thing? And I'm sure it is for a lot of guys. Obviously you coming off a win makes it very different, but I'm sure going to a town that could be fun, like playing it like a Liberty National and being in New York City, like, you should have fun. This is part of why you're doing this,
Oh yeah, 100%. We live on the road, so like that is our life. So you got to kind of take it as it comes, and maybe the focus and the seriousness of last week was, derailed a little bit because of that. But at the same point, it was our 28th event of the year. We just got to win, and we deserved like a little bit of a break, and the win didn't help Thursday and Friday. I think having to overcome kind of the weather and Vegas it was just a little too much for us.
Yeah, I was looking at your scorecard this morning, and you made like a couple doubles on Friday, and I'm like, those are Vegas doubles. Like, take those off the stat sheet for the year. Those don't count.
Well,
we're making doubles every now and again.
yeah, we were just seeing too many, 9-2s and just wanted to double down a little too much.
That's right. That's the play. I want to kind of go through your golf life, if you will, because I know people have seen your name pop up, and obviously they've seen the success you've had over the last 4 or 5 months. But maybe they don't exactly know like where you came from or, how you came up. So you grew up in Arizona. You grew up in Scottsdale. Is that right?
Yeah, grew up living in Scottsdale. My dad's been in the men's club down at Mesa forever.
Yeah.
So kind of grew up
and good
there.
Player too, Matt. Like, I mean, he's a solid player. Like, he was probably a scratch golfer or is a scratch golfer for most of his adult life. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, he's a scratch golfer, especially if he's over 55 now, so bumped up a box. And yeah, I mean, he played Division III golf at Redlands. Like, he was probably a plus handicap in his 20s, honestly. Like, he, taught me everything growing up. And that was I grew up playing everything, like, kind of all sports. Golf was kind of what we did in the summer in Arizona, battling the heat, but you just grow up and you like being outside, and it was fun. And but yeah, it just kind of grew up as a family thing. And then kind of got towards high school, and my next favorite sport was basketball. And I think when I got my driver's license, I was like 5'6" and 110 pounds, so a little bit of like a late bloomer. And probably in high school, I was like, okay,
you
basketball,
and me both, baby.
basketball might not be it. So, I'm pretty decent at golf. We'll see if we can, get a scholarship and kind of play at the collegiate level. And kind of that was the goal growing up. It was never like, oh, like I'm going to be, it was a dream to play on the PGA Tour, but it was never like that pressure or expectation was never there. It was just keep having fun, see how good you can get, and honestly to kind of get a discount on education going into college was kind of the goal. And but yeah, grew up like, had a great group of buddies in high school at Desert Mountain, and kind of continued that as well into college with Santa Clara. But golf was always just something that was fun and you did with your buddies, and it was a great time. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like, there becomes a point where you really start like working hard at it and taking it seriously and spending a lot of your time into it, but it never really like has completely felt like a job for me up to this point, which I guess I'm super lucky for too,
Well, were you a lefty basketball player too?
No, I do everything else right-handed.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
Right throw.
What caused you to go lefty golf? If everything
I
else
got no
righty?
idea. I mean, like, I swing like a baseball bat. I swung lefty, which was kind of like advantageous for that. And then growing up, like, I think I went to the range like super young with my dad, and I think I honestly just stood across from him and
mirrored what
tried
he was
to kind of mirror what he was
Yep.
doing.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's just, obviously natural more than anything. If I played golf right-handed, I mean, I'd be terrible. I probably wouldn't even play. So
Have you tried righty lately or no?
I mean,
Like,
I'll take some swings every once in a while. Everybody's got righty clubs, but no, it's not good at all. Doss has become pretty good lefty. Like, he's had 3 years now kind of practicing, so he's pretty good from inside like 150. And it was actually funny this year in one practice round, he like hit like he had a shot with me on one of the par threes in one of the pro-ams, and he hit like a full 50 degree closer than I did from like 130. So, yeah, I don't know, but I've never been able to switch, or like I'm not like super ambidextrous, I guess, if that makes sense either. Like, it's just kind of weird.
You got to tell Doss to remember to throw like a 50 degree or a wedge in the bag when you guys play that Wednesday practice round with the players. I think a lot of opposite caddies for the first time don't realize that you can win. Like, I think it's a pretty good amount of money if you win closest to the pin on the caddy competition at the players. So you got to remind Doss, like, don't forget the golf club, the righty club, or I guess he could grab somebody's out of the bag you're playing with.
Yeah, it's better if he has someone else's and then something to
Okay.
blame it on,
Okay.
because then
Perfect.
it's cooler if he actually hits a good one
That's a
anyway.
good point. I mean, hell, he might need to go lefty if it is 50 degrees closer than you are. That might be the play.
Yeah.
So you're talking about growing up playing golf. Obviously, your dad was very into it. When did you? And I mean, you don't necessarily have to say an age, but when did you start to show signs that you had like talent? Do you remember when you won your first tournament, or when you started to maybe win multiple golf tournaments as a kid?
I mean, I think in Arizona, like I won the junior match play probably when I was like 12 or 13 or 14 or something.
Okay.
That might have been it. But I mean, we lived in Seattle till I was 10, and we're members at like a little kind of club up there, and I would play like 3, 5, 7 hole, kind of competitions, I guess. And there's like, I guess I did okay in some of those. Like they probably weren't all first place trophies, but I had a few of them back in the day. So I don't know. I mean, I think I was always kind of, good at it growing up. Like I always had fun with it and was competitive enough. But I think when you're like, 12, 13 years old, like golf's not exactly like the coolest thing in the world either. And like, I'm like, just looking forward to basketball season or baseball season a little bit more. But, kind of once you get to college and then, everybody kind of starts working and gets in their 20s and starts playing golf as well, it kind of, comes back around for us that grew up when we were young. So it's definitely very helpful.
Yeah, I remember you went to Santa Clara, and I think I maybe played one round with you at Dobson back in the day, like when you were in high school, maybe something like that. And I remember you came back from Santa Clara, and there was maybe a men's club event or a Friday game or something, and we got paired up together. And there was like you seemed different, like you seemed more confident in your game. I think you shot something pretty solid without making a lot of putts. Like you might have shot 65. And for people that don't know Dobson Ranch, 5 par 5s, all very gettable. Like you're going to hit, wedge, 9-iron, 8-iron into a couple of them. I mean, they're very short if you hit a good drive. But at the same time, like you go out there and shoot 64, 65, you're probably going to win money in whatever the money game is. And I remember you shot something solid and it was like you expected it. Do you remember when the game switched in college? Like, do you remember when you went from I'm a college player at a university that isn't, some powerhouse college golf university, but obviously, I mean, you went there and you went to learn and you went to, improve and to grow as a golfer. Do you remember when that flipped for you in college?
Yeah, I mean, we played a good schedule. We were in the WCC, but we played a ton of like Pac-12 events and traveled around a good bit.
So you play Arizona and Arizona State and USC and UCLA. Like you play against these guys with, like top rated Justin Suh, players like that who are like the highest rated amateur players. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember we were playing tournaments against like Texas, and I remember seeing Scotty around in college, like stuff like that. But yeah, sophomore year, I won a tournament in San Diego's event my sophomore year, kind of in that spring. And at that point, that was huge for me, just like to kind of see my amateur ranking kind of get into that level where you can get into like all the big events, like the Western and, the North-South at Pinehurst and kind of like. And then I, spent that summer playing in those, found some success, like was making a ton of cuts, but kind of, seeing all these guys too that are like kind of like the top AMs in the country and, seeing I could kind of stack up against them. But that was huge for me. And then, yeah, I mean, kind of, I think Dobson I came back home during COVID for like 4 or 5 months and played that Friday game, which was my senior year, got cut short. But played that game basically every week during COVID. And I think I was up to like, like you just said, Dobson, but like a +8 or a +9, it was just based off that run out there. So it's like, I was playing some good golf and, but yeah, I think it just kind of, those experiences all just add up. And honestly, after my sophomore year in college, like I played golf full time. Like I was playing, I wasn't working during the summer. I was playing 15, 16 events a year, adding 4 or 5 on the college schedule during the summer. And, it was strong competition. So I think that was a huge kind of, growing point for me as I moved into like competitive golf. And you see a lot of those guys who are a little older from college and then they come out on the Corn Ferry or the PGA and have some success. And you're like, maybe I can kind of get out there and do the same thing. So yeah, it's nice to kind of, see your peers when you're that age have success and kind of motivates you as well.
Why'd you pick Santa Clara? What was the reasoning for that?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Like, I loved the school, like the area, the golf courses we could play, academics. It was great. It was, I went into college just kind of, playing golf and get a good education and kind of see what happens. And, but yeah, and honestly, like it was my best offer. Rob Miller, the coach at the time, was, just a really chill guy, great dude, and we got along well in my meeting. My dad gave me really good advice of like, he played, 4 years and played in every event in college, and just go somewhere that you can play and get that experience. And the only event I didn't qualify for in college was our first one, the fall my freshman year, which was at Olympic Club, but we were doing some qualifying in the Bay, and it was like a cold, kind of foggy September for us, and I had no idea that just the ball goes absolutely nowhere up there. I was struggling.
You're trying to hit wedge from 145 and it's coming up 20 short. You're like, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I was trying to hit a wedge from 120 and it was still coming up short. Like it was, so yeah. But yeah, and then like kind of learning growing up in Arizona, I mean, it's tough to get recruited out of there going into college too. It's just, you kind of grow up playing in a dome, ball goes far, desert golf scene is being kind of easy. So you got to learn how to play in some rough and some different elements. And, playing in the rain was kind of new for me up in the Bay. But yeah, it was good and a lot of fun.
What was your favorite San Fran area golf course? I know you mentioned off the top, you played a lot of them. Is there one that sticks out that you always just like loved the most going out to play?
Yeah, I mean, I got out to Pebble for the first time a couple of years ago, which was awesome. I mean, just like watching that on TV and, the views out there are crazy. But I would say like in the city, SF Club's a really special place, like really cool club and like kind of cool place to be at. Cal Club is awesome. But Olympic was kind of always my favorite. I think my junior year up there, I finished second in an event, had a putt on 18 to kind of win that college event out there, at least get into a playoff, but missed it. But I felt like that, I was like, if I can kind of play like this and compete on, a course that, hosts U.S. Opens and stuff, like, that was kind of promising to see that step in my game a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're kind of one of those golfers that's game probably has translated well on tough golf courses. You hit the ball relatively straight. I know you've added distance over the last year and a half, but always a very good short game. I'm assuming you're one of those players that you would prefer the tougher test. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the thing, and then you kind of got to transition. I think this year and last year, what I kind of like learned is, playing well on tough golf courses means your game's in a good spot, but you also got to go learn how to shoot 7, 8, 9 under on some places that are more gettable. So kind of being able to, evolve and translate your game to different courses. But yeah, for sure, especially growing up, like not super long, but kind of accurate and very consistent, especially like solid around the greens. Like you want to see it play as hard as possible and be a challenge for everybody and kind of just grind out some weeks and grind out some good finishes. So, yeah.
Yeah. And something I'm always interested in with pro golfers is like, how did you get to the mental point of being comfortable going low? I was watching a Bryson video the other day and he said he struggled as a kid to go low and he started playing the front tees. It was kind of like, it was basically an early idea to what we now see with the Breaking 50 series that he's doing on YouTube. But he said he would go play the up tees until he broke a certain number, till he broke 60 or whatever the case may be, getting comfortable going low. Did it take you something to start to get comfortable? Because you said it. I mean, KFT forces you to go low if you want to have success. I mean, I joke about this a lot, Matt. In Utah, I think this year you opened with 70 and then shot 62, 61 or something the next 2 rounds. Like, you obviously have felt very, very comfortable over the last year going as low as possible. Is there something that that clicked in your brain where you went, okay, if I've got it going and I'm swinging the way I know I can swing, like no matter there's no low enough number for me to touch?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like you gotta almost like go into the day, not expecting to shoot 8 or 9 under. Because then if you're like, even par through 3 or 4, it feels like you're losing like a ton of
Yeah,
ground.
for sure.
But when you do make the turn at like 4 or 5 under, like you really just got to be like, okay, like we're playing good golf, like keep the pedal down and keep it going. Like, there's so many times out there where you tee off Thursday in the afternoon and you're 10 back and it's 12:30. It's like, that is intimidating, but at the same point, like that dude that shot 10, he's not gonna shoot 10 every day. Like 40 under never wins an event. So like, it's all relative. Yeah, not yet, not yet.
Give it a couple of years.
Yeah, but no, but it's all relative, and it's a tough game. So even on like easy golf courses, relatively, like it's you still got to hit good shots and get the ball in the hole. But yeah, I think just that keep the pedal down mentality, as simple as it sounds, and honestly, Dev's very helpful with that. Of like, I think he kind of saw like my first year out there, like we get 3-4 under early, and like you just kind of try to hang on, and maybe like play a little bit more conservative. And he's like, no, like let's just we're 7 back. It's Thursday. What are we worried about?
It's, it is true. Like Nitty's always tells the story on the broadcast. I think he was playing a KFT event one time, shot 7 the first round, had a late tee time on Friday, made bogey on 1, and he was a shot off the cut line. And you're like, wait a minute, I was like tied for the lead through the first round. It's just so crazy how volatile it is, especially if you're early late.
Yeah, well, I think one of the craziest things was my first year out there in Texas. At that event in Arlington on Sunday, we were in like 40th, and I think I shot 7 under Sunday, like good round, like kind of calm day, like course was a little soft, and I think I moved up like 2 spots from 40th, shooting like 7 under, and it's like, okay, like yeah, like that was a good day, but like that was a pretty average day for what it was out here. Like, it's like, yeah, like these guys are good, and you played well, but you got to be kind of honest with yourself, and keep pushing and moving the needle a little bit.
What is the rest of your year kind of looking like? I mean, obviously you're not going to play this week in Japan. I mean, that would have been something you would have had to plan out a few weeks earlier, and you weren't necessarily in this event before you won in Utah. But do you know what the schedule looks like? Like, are you sitting down and writing out what you can play at? I mean, I'm assuming you're in all the FedEx Fall events if you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 left. There's Cabo, Bermuda, and RSM. I think we've played 28 events this year, so I think spending the last few days and kind of reflecting and realizing kind of what I have going next year too, with like the Century and the majors and the Masters and everything, and kind of next year's gonna it's all good busy, but it will be a little bit busier for me next year. I think I'm just gonna shut it down until RSM for like a month, and then I'll have like a month off until I head to Maui. But I think last year that was very useful for me, kind of to have that off season after the Corn Ferry year of, a little disappointing finish, but be able to work on some stuff, shut it down, put the sticks away for a little, but spend time in the gym, taking care of the body. And, I think that'll be very useful for me going into next year. And, I was thinking about Bermuda's kind of a long trip at this point in the year. I was thinking about Cabo, but I got orientation for the tour next week in Jax.
You got work, man.
Yeah, and still got a few trips and stuff I want to do with some family, friends, and some buddies, and so I think just kind of enjoy it and honestly like reflect of some of the things I've done well and kind of what I want to keep doing and add to kind of the repertoire moving into next year too. And then honestly just be a little fresh in January. So I think that'll be good. And, I'm lucky. I got a great girlfriend, great people around me, friends and everything, and just spend some time with her and honestly enjoy it. She's, we've been dating a while and she's been a huge part of this journey with me as well. So for us to kind of do that together would be great too.
So maybe just one event. I mean, it seems like maybe just one event left for the rest of the season. Would you at all consider Cabo if you just wanted to throw something else on the calendar, or is it just because you have orientation you can't do it?
No, I mean I can do it. I think just one more. That'll
Okay,
be 29 for me this year. The most I've played the last
that's a
two is
lot.
25. So, and just kind of moving into next year. I mean, after the win, kind of a lot changed and a little bit more freedom kind of going into next year with, being in a lot of those events. And obviously the 2 year exemption is kind of a big deal with my first year out, but I think that'll be very helpful as well. Cause I'll be kind of going into the year, as it being my first look at all these places out of like a 2 year chance at it, I guess. And just kind of focusing on next year. And I think that's the thing. It's like, when you're playing good, you want to keep it going, but I've been doing it for a while and I think it might be time to finally shut it down. I think Vegas helped a lot in that decision and just the energy levels of
I'm
how much
burnt,
time I
baby.
slept. Yeah.
So when you look at next year, you talk about the PGA Tour schedule for 2025. Have you started to look at what that's going to look like in your world? And then also, I was going to ask, do you now knowing you're going to get into kind of, I mean, you're top 50 in the world right now. Like I was looking at world rankings this morning, which is crazy to think. Like top 50, I think at the end of the year gets you into everything, doesn't it, Matt? In next year in terms of signature events and stuff,
Yeah, not the signatures. I think top
just the
30s for all the
majors.
signatures. Top
Oh, top
50s,
30. Okay.
I think top 50 will get me into the Open.
Okay.
But yeah,
You're
like,
and you're in the Masters, you're in the U.S. Open, you're in the Players already. So
and
for you, it's
and the
like Open PG,
PGA, I
and you're in
think,
the PGA.
with
Okay,
yeah. So yeah, obviously, I mean, it's pretty surreal to kind of think about that, going into next year to kind of be in those events, obviously. But I'm looking forward to the opportunity, and like, I think the way that I've done it, I've earned my spot into all these
for sure.
fields, and looking forward to kind of, seeing what it feels like out there and kind of how those golf courses play, how like I kind of stack up, and I'm very excited just to kind of get out there and compete more than anything. So, yeah, just very focused on that, and spend some time. And I think that's the thing. It's just kind of keep doing what I'm doing. It'll be my first year out there, but I'm 26, about to be 27. I've played 3 years on the Corn Ferry. I've played, 80 professional events, kind of traveling the country and the world. So like, it'll be new experiences for me, but in terms of kind of how I've set up my, my process and my system for throughout the week, like it'll be very similar. So, I feel like it's been very helpful, and the 3 years on the Corn Ferry, I feel very kind of prepared going into next year as well.
Yeah, with success comes opportunity. Something we talk a lot about, in kind of our media golf world is like global golf, right? And some of the global events that exist out there. Are there some events in the next couple of years, like Australian Open or go play something on the European Tour? Is there something like that you would want to throw onto your schedule that might maybe not make the most sense in terms of what the PGA Tour year is going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like, I think after, honestly, I won my second time and kind of saw the world ranking jump, into that top 100. I was like, wow, like, we could maybe like go to Australia around Thanksgiving or do something cool like that.
Yeah.
I think Japan next year, kind of looking for, like, the Zozo would have been sweet. Obviously, it was too much and a little late this year. I think everybody had to get their visas early and everything. But to do that trip next year, we have a really good family friend that lives in Tokyo. So to go over there and play for a week, but also probably spend, 4 or 5 days on the front or back end and hang out and experience stuff like that. I mean, that's the part of, kind of those big events and, those global ones that is very kind of cool as well. And, uh, yeah, hopefully I can, work my way into the Open, but excited to go to like the Scottish too. And I've never been
Sweet.
over. I've been to Europe once, with my girlfriend. We went a few years ago, but like I've never been over there with my clubs, and to play golf over there will be sweet. Like, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things like that, but I think, obviously like the PGA Tour and growing up in the States is kind of, it for us, and that's where you want to be. But to have those opportunities and kind of pick and choose them as they come will be very cool as well.
The Zozo, by the way, I worked it, I think 2 or 3 years ago. I called it with Sam Saunders and had no idea what to expect when I went over there. It was one of the most fun work weeks I've had in my career. I mean, everybody stays at the same hotel, so players, media, everybody. You're close to this little, smaller town outside of Tokyo that has amazing food, but just the way they take care of you and courtesy vehicles. By the way, Sam and I just decided after about the second day that we were just going to go in line and queue where the players get the free rides to and from dinner. We were like, we look young enough. Sam is still playing Corn Ferry golf, for God's sakes. Like, we can do this. And so we just started to bum into the line with the players and get rides out to wherever you got rides, and they'd pick you up and bring you back. But I would highly, highly recommend going to that next year. Very, very, very fun week.
Yeah, and it seems sweet. I mean, I was getting texts from Mac and his caddy Angela last night. Like, they're doing Wagyu, and all the food over there is amazing. And
I bet I know the steakhouse they were at, because it is unbelievable. I think we went 3 nights out of a week.
But yeah, I mean, it's like a cool setup. Like, they fly you over, they put you up for the week over there. Like, it's that definitely some very cool, unique opportunities that come with stuff like that. So it's exciting.
All right, Matt, a couple quick hitters before we go. Quick hitter number 1. What do you do on the road week to week when you're in the hotel room or in the Airbnb? Are you a reader? Are you a watcher? Are you what are you doing to break up the time when you're sitting at the hotel for 5 hours?
Yeah, I mean, we watch a lot of sports. Like, it's been pretty easy the last, couple months. There's a lot of football on, so that kind of breaks it up for us. But yeah, honestly, with Mason a lot on the road this year, his caddy Trevor, me, Doss, and him, we would all stay together. We'd do a lot of movies. We watched a ton of Eastbound and Down kind of in the middle of that summer stretch this year.
Season 1 is unbeatable, man.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just kind of a bunch of random stuff, dinners, a few beers here and there, and just kind of break it up and enjoy time with buddies. And kind of when you're somewhere, go see whatever the local sites, I guess. But yeah, I mean, just kind of pretty normal stuff, nothing crazy. And yeah, the weeks actually, it's great. Like, you spend a lot of time on the road, but the weeks go by quickly. I mean, we're kind of doing a lot, but it's nice to kind of break it up. And, I think going out for some Monday, Tuesdays and play some fun golf courses helps break it up as well.
What are 2 places you order from every week when you're on the road? Like two dinners, 2 lunches you're getting pretty much consistently week to week.
I mean,
I know one of them because every pro golfer says it, but I'll let you say it.
Yeah, I mean, those late Thursdays, early Fridays, I mean, Chipotle is just it. Like, I mean, just something quick.
Say. Yep, there it is. Yep.
But I don't know, not too many chains. Like, we've done Doss's Indian, obviously, so we've started kind of doing an Indian night every week wherever we're at, and kind of when you're in the middle of nowhere, and especially in the South and stuff, an Indian kid from California walks in and gets treated like a king. So that's always fun. But yeah, just kind of break up. Nice to find the local spots and not too much chains. Whenever there's an In-N-Out, being from the West Coast, we'll always hit that as well.
Yeah. That's I think that my wife for sure misses it the most, being on the East Coast, not having In-N-Out. But yeah, that's I think when I come to Arizona, it's pretty much my first night go to, no matter what, is dial into it. It's so crazy, the food. When you move, I miss my friends and family, number 1, right? The people that you like being around. But it's so funny how fast you miss food and the stuff you're comfortable with and familiar with. And I mean, I've lived in the Northeast now since 21. I mean, this is what we're coming up on 4 years. And I still think about restaurants in Phoenix that I wish existed, on a Wednesday. I'm like, damn, I'd love to get Dos Los right now, or something like that. It's just so funny.
No, the Mexican food, that is definitely something. Arizona is great. So that's the one thing, and In-N-Out, obviously. But yeah, it is crazy. When you're traveling around, or you do 3 years on the Corn Ferry, we found some good spots, and you're that's the week we went to this place, and we're excited to go back. It's cool.
What's our over under today at Medinah number 3? What are we thinking? Are we can I set it at, let's say, you coming off Vegas, you're going to go out there and play cash. You'll probably play well because not a lot is up for grabs outside of, cash in the wallet. I'm going to set it at 67.5. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I'd take that. I'd take the over on that all day. I mean it's going to be like 64 in Chicago, a little windy today. Like that'd be a hell of a
68.
round.
We'll do 68 and a half. That's what we'll say. We'll get a report at some point on what the number was. But if it's dirty, you might have to post it on social.
Yeah, I honestly, if I keep up with TK today, I mean he's gearing up for Q School. He's more in. We've been playing some good golf, but he's gearing it up. So if I keep up with him today and give him a good match, I'd be happy.
There you go. Matt McCarty, appreciate the time as always. We'll check back within a couple of weeks. Have some fun in Medinah, and then have some fun in Chicago. When's the cutoff for Chicago? Does it get like sub 50 and you're out, and then that's Arizona, or what's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just riding it out. The weather looks nice. Like it's a little colder today, but yeah, it looks nice. I'm just hanging out here. Maddie's here, so. Yeah, we'll see. And then kind of just bounce back whenever and maybe head down to, Sea Island area a little early and get some golf in if the weather's bad up here. Maybe go to Jack's or something, see Sawgrass a little early. But yeah, no.
Dude, go play Timuquana if you go to Jack's. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Have you played it?
Yeah, Maddie's family lives in Jack's, so I've played Timuquana. Timuquana is awesome. It's a great spot.
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, Matt, appreciate the time. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll check back with you soon.
Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it.